Welcome, everyone, to
English Learning Garage.
today. We're plunging into something, well, almost all of us do, but maybe don't think too much about the hidden complexities.
Yeah.
Dining out, you know that feeling, right? Walking into a restaurant, the buzz, the smells, the anticipation, it's great. But have you ever really stopped to think about what's going on beneath the surface? Or, what's subtly expected of you? Because eating out, it's way more than just food on a plate. It's this really intricate dance of social signals, unspoken rules, cultural stuff. It's like a performance almost. And every little thing, how you interact, what you say, even how you sit, it all means something. Which kind of leads to a big question. How well do you actually navigate this whole landscape?
That's such a great way to put it. And it perfectly sets up what we're diving into today. We've gathered some fantastic material, mainly pulling from Mastering Restaurant English, Etiquette, and Ordering. This stuff is just a goldmine for understanding the whole world of dining out, especially, in English-speaking places. So our mission really is to pull out the absolute key takeaways, those real aha moments. We want to give you, our listener, a shortcut basically to feeling truly well informed and maybe more importantly, really confident in pretty much any dining situation.
Yeah, confidence is key, isn't it?
Totally. We want to arm you with the practical skills, the cultural know-how, so you can go from just, well, eating a meal to actually experiencing it, wherever you happen to be. It's really about cultural adaptation and just communicating effectively.
Absolutely. And look, we promise this isn't going to be some stuffy lecture. No way. We're talking surprising facts, things that might make you rethink your next meal out, genuinely useful tips you could use tonight, and yeah, hopefully a bit of humor too.
This whole deep dive is really designed for your learning journey. We're aiming for those moments where it just clicks, where information turns into a skill you can actually use. It's bigger than just ordering food. It's about understanding that subtle dance, unlocking richer, more respectful ways to interact with the world. So, yeah, settle in. Let's explore this.
Understanding the landscape of dining, types of restaurants, and cultural variations.
Okay, so let's start by mapping out the landscape, because it's not just restaurants, is it? There's this whole range, and each type, it immediately sets different expectations for service, the vibe, even the words you use. Understanding this range, this spectrum, it's like your first big clue to dining successfully. It helps you, sync up your expectations with where you actually are. That's a really fundamental point. Carol breaks this down very clearly, and it's fascinating how each type really does have its own sort of unwritten rule book, a kind of social contract. First up, you've got fast food restaurants. These places are basically engineered for speed, efficiency, convenience. Think about how they're set up. Standardized food, pretty cheap, often in disposable stuff. Very little table service, if any. The whole point is getting your food fast and moving on. You're usually not hanging around. Drive-thrus, takeout, that's key. Obvious examples like McDonald's, KFC, Subway, they pop right into your head.
Right.
And the language used reflects that speed. It's direct, transactional. Can I get a cheeseburger combo, please? Or the person asking you for here to go? There's zero expectation of a long, leisurely meal. It's purely about getting fed quickly.
Yeah, and you're definitely not asking the person at the counter for wine pairings with your fries, are you?
Exactly. It's just functional. Okay, then you take a step up to casual dining restaurants. This is a pretty big jump. You get a more relaxed setting, it's comfortable, and importantly, you get actual table service. Here you're looking at, say, moderate prices, a bigger variety of familiar dishes, pasta, burgers, salads, grilled stuff. The atmosphere is generally friendly, comfortable. Think places like Applebee's, Chili, maybe PGI Fridays, that sort of vibe. You're expected to sit down, relax a bit, be served, and the language changes too. "I'd like to see the menu, please," or asking what sides come with this dish. It's more about having a pleasant, kind of unhurried meal, maybe with friends or family.
That's where it starts feeling more like an actual event, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's still pretty laid back, you're not just refueling, you're doing something social. The etiquette stakes are a little higher, but still pretty relaxed overall.
Precisely. And then you go way up the scale to fine dining restaurants. Now, these are all about an upscale, really elegant, sometimes quite sophisticated experience. We're talking top quality ingredients, often sourced very carefully. The food presentation is artistic, the service is incredibly attentive, sometimes almost invisible, but always there. The vibe is formal. Often you'll find there's a dress code, maybe not strictly enforced always, but definitely encouraged or recommended. Formal attire.
Right. No shorts and flip-flops here.
Definitely not. Multi-course meals are common. You almost always need reservations, sometimes weeks or months in advance, and yeah, the prices are high. But you're paying for that exceptional service, the culinary skill, the whole atmosphere. Think Michelin-starred places. And the
Like,
language, it shifts again, much more formal, more nuanced. Do you have any wine recommendations to go with the lamb? Or may I speak with the sommelier? It's a completely different world. Linguistically, socially, it demands a higher level of awareness from you, the diner.
yeah, and even a tiny slip-up in fine dining can feel huge, can't it?
Yeah.
Just because the expectations are so specific and everything is so carefully managed for that respectful experience.
Absolutely. Okay, next category. Buffet restaurants. These are unique. It's a self-service model. You pay a fixed price, usually, and then you help yourself to a huge variety of dishes. It's often all you can eat. Key features. You serve yourself, there's a massive range of food, often different cuisines side by side, and you frequently pay before you eat. Places like Golden Corral or maybe a hotel breakfast buffet, those are classic examples.
Ah, the breakfast buffet, a cornerstone of travel.
Indeed. And the useful phrases here aren't really about ordering food from a server, it's more logistical. Are drinks included in the buffet price? Or where can I find the vegetarian section? It's all about getting variety and value, and you're very much managing your own plate.
Which means your interaction with staff might be minimal, maybe just clearing plates, but your own etiquette, not making a mess, not taking mountains of food you won't eat, that becomes really important. We'll touch on that later, I'm sure.
That's a great point. And finally, let's talk about cafes and coffee shops. These are usually informal spots, often self-service or counter service. You go there for drinks, coffee, tea, and light snacks, maybe pastries, sandwiches. They're designed to be cozy, maybe quiet, often have free Wi-Fi. Good for a quick meeting, studying, or just grabbing a personalized drink. Think Starbucks, or maybe a little independent European-style coffee house. Phrases are simple. I'd like a latte and a croissant. Or maybe, is there a power outlet I could use nearby? It's casual, quick, often serves as that third place for people.
What's really striking is how the type of place instantly tells you so much about the expected formality, the etiquette you should use. Like you said, showing up to fine dining and beach where you've missed the first, most obvious cue, no matter how politely you try to order later, it's your immediate roadmap.
Exactly. And that's why just understanding these basic categories is so helpful. It gives you a framework, you know roughly what to expect, how to act, the kind of language that fits.
Okay, now let's get into something really fascinating, the cultural deep dives. Because it's not just the type of restaurant, right? It's the whole culture behind it. Let's contrast two really different examples.
Aha.
An American diner versus a Japanese sushi bar. These show just dramatic differences in how people think about dining.
Oh, this contrast is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
The American diner. It's like the classic American eatery, right? Super informal, known for being friendly, almost overly familiar sometimes, often has that long counter seating where you can chat with the server or cook. The food is comfort food central. Pancakes, burgers, fries, milkshakes, usually big portions. A lot of them are open 24/7. And a real hallmark is the coffee, usually endless refills, often free or very cheap.
Bottomless coffee.
Exactly. And the typical chat really captures that easygoing feel. A server might literally say, "What can I get you today, hon?"
Hun. Yeah, you instantly get that warm, kind of folksy vibe.
Right. And the customer might just say, "I'll have the pancake special and a cup of coffee." It's all designed to be super relaxed, approachable, almost like eating in someone's kitchen.
It speaks to a certain kind of American openness, doesn't it? Comfort, familiarity, easy conversation.
Now, flip that completely. Think about a Japanese sushi bar. This is a highly specialized place. The chef, the itame, meticulously prepares sushi right there in front of you. Often there's quiet conversation between the chef and guest. There's an incredibly strong focus on precise etiquette. On the presentation, it's often beautiful. And on the absolute freshness and quality of every single ingredient. Guests often sit at the counter specifically to watch the chef's skill. It's part of the experience. The core idea is respect. Respect for the food, for the chef's craft, for the whole dining ritual.
So it's not just about eating, it's almost reverence for how it's made.
Exactly, and the etiquette reflects that. You're encouraged to politely say itadakimasu before you eat. It means something like, "I humbly receive," or "let's eat." It expresses gratitude. And afterwards, you say, "Gochisu sama deshita." That means, "Thank you for the meal," specifically acknowledging the effort that went into it. And crucially, some things not to do. Avoid mixing wasabi into your soy sauce. The chef usually puts the perfect amount on the sushi already. Mixing it implies you think they got it wrong or you need to fix it.
Oh, I think a lot of people do that without realizing.
Very common mistake. And also, rubbing your chopsticks together. It's considered rude because it suggests the chopsticks are cheap wood and might have splinters. You're insulting the establishment's quality. A typical interaction might be a customer saying, "Omakase, wangai shimasu." That's a polite way of saying, "Chef, please choose for me." You're trusting their expertise. And the chef might reply, "Hi, arigatou gozaimasu." Yes, thank you very much. Accepting that trust.
Wow, that is just completely different. One's about easy comfort, the other is steeped in respect, craft, and a very structured, almost sacred experience. It really shows how deep culture runs in dining. It affects everything, from specific actions to the whole philosophy behind the meal. It's not just what you eat, but how you show respect.
Absolutely. And this is why understanding global etiquette, even just snapshots, is so valuable. Let's run through a few more quick examples from around the world. These really highlight the variety. In France, meals are often seen as, well, an art form, something to be savored. People take their time, rushing is really frowned upon. You're expected to enjoy the whole experience. Bread comes with almost every meal, but usually no butter. It's meant for soaking up sauces, not for eating on its own beforehand. And here's one that catches Americans out. Asking for a doggy bag for leftovers can be seen as a bit, well, off.
Really was that.
The thinking is that the meal is a complete experience to be enjoyed there. Taking it away kind of breaks that, implies maybe the portion was wrong or wasn't special enough to finish. It shifts the focus from the experience to just the food.
That makes sense, culturally. Whereas in the US, it's often about avoiding waste or
Yeah.
value for money. Huge difference.
Massive difference. Okay, India. Many traditional meals are eaten with the hands, especially things like roti or naan with curries. But there's a technique. It's polite and traditional to use only your right hand for eating. The left hand is often associated with personal hygiene, so right hand only. And washing hands well before and after is crucial. Dining is often very communal, lots of sharing. In China, sharing dishes is the norm. Food is placed in the center. Everyone takes what they want. It promotes togetherness. And here's a fascinating one. Leaving a little bit of food on your plate shows satisfaction. It signals to your host that they provided more than enough, that they were generous. Finishing everything might imply they didn't give you enough. Also, tipping generally isn't customary in most local places. Service is just expected as part of the job.
So, what does all this mean for you, our listener? It means this knowledge isn't just trivia, it's absolutely crucial. Knowing these things helps you navigate menus better, use the right language and tone, like knowing whether to ask for the check or the bill. It helps you avoid those really awkward cultural blunders that can make everyone feel uncomfortable. It genuinely lets you enjoy meals, whether social or business, with way more ease, more confidence, and crucially, more respect for the local ways. It's the difference between, awkwardly waving your hand and shouting, "Waiter," versus politely catching their eye and saying, "Excuse me, may I have the check when you're ready?"
It's
Not
not.
just what you say, but how, and that often depends entirely on where you are.
Exactly. It's about being observant, being adaptable, having that cultural intelligence. That's the real benefit you get. It makes you feel more comfortable and confident truly anywhere you eat.
Mastering the menu, vocabulary, and
Up top.
understanding.
Okay, let's shift focus to the menu itself, the map to your meal, as you said. So what does this all mean when you're actually looking at that list of dishes? Understanding the structure is a huge first step, right? It can stop you feeling totally lost.
Absolutely. Menus can look wildly different, but most English language ones follow a pretty standard pattern. Once you get that pattern, navigating becomes much, much easier. Let's start at the beginning. Appetizers, or sometimes called starters. These are small dishes served before the main part of the meal. They're meant to, wake up your taste buds, not fill you up completely. They set the scene. Think classics like garlic bread, maybe a soup, a small salad. A typical phrase would be, "I'd like to start with the Caesar salad, please." They're often good for sharing, too. Then, the main event, the entree, or main course. This is the centerpiece dish, usually the largest, often the most complex, and typically the most expensive item you'll order individually. Now, here's a really important point, a potential gotcha moment we mentioned earlier. In American English, entree almost always means the main course.
But not everywhere else, right?
Exactly. In France, and on some older European menus, entree actually refers to the starter, the appetizer. So that one little word can cause real confusion if you're not aware of the local usage. Always check the context or ask if you're unsure. So examples of main courses: grilled chicken, steak, a pasta dish. And you'd order saying something like, "For my main course, I'll have the salmon with rice."
That entree thing is such a classic trap for travelers. A tiny word, but it can completely change what you end up ordering if you're not careful.
It really can. Okay, next up, side dishes, or just sides. These are smaller portions served alongside your main course. They're meant to complement it. Think French fries with a burger, mashed potatoes with steak, steamed veggies. Sometimes they come with the main dish automatically, sometimes you order them separately. So you might need to ask, does the steak come with any sides? Or can I get a side of fries with that? After the savory dishes, we move to dessert, the sweet course at the end. This is where you find things like ice cream, cake, pie, fruit salads, cheesecake, the indulgence part. You'd ask, what do you have for dessert today? Or maybe, could we see the dessert menu, please? And of course, you need something to drink. Beverages or drinks. This covers everything liquid. Water, soda, juice, coffee, tea. Also alcoholic drinks like beer, wine, cocktails. You might say, I'll have a glass of red wine with my meal, or just water for me, please. And one last thing to always keep an eye out for: specials or daily specials. These are dishes that aren't on the regular printed menu. They might be seasonal or something the chef is trying out. They're often listed on a separate board or told to you by the server. It's always worth asking, what are today's specials? It's a great way to try something new or unique.
Knowing these basic categories really does give you a framework. You're not just looking at a random list, you understand the flow of the meal. It makes the whole process feel much less daunting, much more manageable, like having a mental blueprint.
Definitely. But beyond the categories, menus use all sorts of descriptive words to make things sound appealing. And sometimes these words can be a bit confusing if you haven't come across them before. Learning them can really help you visualize the dish. Let's talk about common descriptive adjectives. When a menu says something is tender, like tenderloin steak, it means soft, easy to chew, melts in your mouth. If it says crispy, like crispy duck skin, you expect a nice crunch. Firm, breaks easily. Creamy, like creamy tomato soup, suggests a smooth, rich, thick texture, probably made with cream or milk. Spicy means hot, usually from chili peppers. Menus often use little chili icons to show the heat level: 1 chili for mild, 3 for very hot. Juicy, especially for meats like burgers or chicken, means it's full of moisture, not dry. Very desirable. And charred means it's been cooked at high heat, so parts of the surface are lightly blackened, usually on purpose to add a smoky flavor, often from grilling.
These words aren't just decoration then, they're actually giving you vital clues about the taste and texture you can expect. It's like the menu is trying to paint a picture for your taste buds.
Exactly. And the cooking methods are just as important for that picture. Grilled means cooked over direct heat, like on a barbecue. Gives smoky flavor, those nice grill marks. Baked is cooked in the oven with dry heat. Think bread, cakes, or baked potatoes. Usually results in an evenly cooked texture. Fried means cooked in hot oil or fat. Could be deep fried, fully submerged like French fries, or pan fried in a shallow pan like fish. Usually results in a crispy outside. Roasted is also cooked in the oven, similar to baking, but often at higher temperatures and maybe with some fat, resulting in browning and caramelization. Think roast chicken or vegetables. Sautéed means cooked quickly in a pan with a small amount of fat over fairly high heat. Good for vegetables or thin cuts of meat, keeps things crisp. And steamed means cooked using steam, often in a basket over boiling water. Very healthy, keeps nutrients, results in a soft, moist texture. You'll also see mentions of garnishes and extras, little finishing touches. Served with a lemon wedge, common for fish, topped with shaved Parmesan for pasta or salads. They add flavor and make it look nice.
So understanding these cooking terms and adjectives really helps you make a much more informed choice. You're not just guessing based on the main ingredient, you have a much better idea of the final result.
Precisely. And that informed choice extends to the practical stuff, like pricing and those crucial special labels. Pricing seems straightforward. You see the number next to the dish, usually with the currency symbol like $15 or 12 pounds. But the big aha moment for many travelers is how service charges and tipping work, because it varies so much. In the US, that menu price is just the start. You're expected to add a 15–20% tip on top. That's standard. But in the UK, you might see a service charge of maybe 12.5% already added to the bill. If so, you don't need to tip extra, usually. And then in places like Japan or South Korea, tipping isn't done at all. It can even be considered rude.
Wow. So just knowing that menu price isn't enough, you have to know the local tipping culture too.
Absolutely vital. It prevents awkwardness and potential offense. Also look out for combo pricing or set meals. Things like a lunch special with soup, sandwich, and drink for one price. Or a prix-fixe menu, which means a fixed price for a set number of courses, like 3 courses for €40. These often offer good value, especially at lunchtime. The menu should clearly say what's included.
And then we get to something absolutely critical, especially nowadays: dietary information. This isn't just about preference. For many people, it's about health and safety.
This is incredibly important, and thankfully many menus are getting much better at providing clear labels. You need to know these. V usually stands for vegetarian, means no meat or fish, but might still contain dairy products like cheese or milk or eggs. VG stands for vegan. This is stricter. Absolutely no animal products at all. No meat, no fish, no dairy, no eggs, often no honey either. GF means gluten-free. Contains no wheat, barley, rye, or other ingredients with gluten. Essential for people with celiac disease or gluten sensitivities. DF means dairy-free. No milk, cheese, butter, yogurt, etc. NF means nut-free. Prepared without peanuts or tree nuts. Absolutely crucial for people with severe nut allergies. You might also see halal, meaning it follows Islamic dietary laws, or kosher, following Jewish dietary laws. And of course, indicators for spice level, like spicy, mild, or hot, maybe with those chili symbols we mentioned.
Okay, so understanding these is non-negotiable if you have any restrictions.
Totally. And you should always feel comfortable asking clarifying questions if you need to. Don't rely just on the symbol if you have a severe allergy. Use clear phrases. Is this dish definitely vegan? Does that mean no dairy or eggs are used at all? Or does this sauce contain gluten? I have celiac disease. Or, very importantly, I have a severe allergy to nuts. Can you recommend something that is definitely safe and prepared in a separate area? Your health comes first. Don't hesitate to advocate for yourself.
So with all this information, categories, descriptions, pricing, labels, how can you, our listener, actually tackle a menu effectively without feeling like you need a degree in culinary arts? What are some practical tips?
Great question. Some really solid, actionable advice. First, take your time. Seriously. Don't feel rushed by the server or your companions. It's perfectly fine to say, could we have a few more minutes, please? Read through everything. Second, ask the server for help. That's what they're there for. If you don't know what something is, just ask. Could you tell me what polenta is? Or what would you recommend? They usually know the menu inside out. Third, look for those visual symbols. We mentioned the V, G, GF, chili peppers. They're quick shortcuts. Use them. Fourth, use your phone if you need to. Got a dictionary app or Google. If you see a word you don't recognize, escargot, just look it up quickly. No shame in that at all. Translation apps can even translate whole menus using your camera now. And finally, maybe the most important tip, be honest. If you don't understand something, say so. If you have an allergy or a strong preference, communicate it clearly. I'm not sure what this dish involves. Could you explain it? Or I really don't like cilantro. Does this dish have any in it? Transparency makes everything easier and safer.
Yeah, thinking of menu reading as a skill you can practice rather than a test you might fail really changes the perspective, doesn't it? It reduces the stress, makes it more enjoyable because you feel confident you'll get something you actually want and that meets your needs. It's a key part of the whole experience.
Exactly. It empowers you to be an active participant in your meal right from the start.
The art of interaction, ordering and handling problems.
All right, let's unpack this next really crucial stage. Interacting with the restaurant staff. You figured out the menu, now it's time to actually talk to the people serving you. And these initial interactions, how you greet them, how you get their attention, they really set the tone for everything that follows.
Absolutely critical point. And knowing who does what helps you talk to the right person. So first, you usually meet the host or hostess. They're often at the entrance of a sit-down place. Their job is greeting people, managing the reservations and the waiting list, maybe telling you how long the wait is, and then taking you to your table. You'd approach them politely. Good evening, a table for two, please. Or if you booked, hi, we have a reservation for 7 p.m. under the name Ahmed. And super important, wait to be seated. Unless there's a very clear sign saying, please seat yourself, just walking in and grabbing a table is usually a no-no. It messes up their system.
Right, disrupts the flow.
Exactly. Then, the person you'll interact with most during the meal is the waiter or waitress, or just server. This person is basically your guide. They take your order, answer your questions about the menu, bring your food and drinks, check on you, and handle the payment at the end. And remember, especially in places like the US and Canada, their income often depends heavily on tips. So being polite, clear, and appreciative really matters. It fosters a good relationship for the meal.
Yeah, that server's key to the experience, aren't they? They can really make or break it with their attitude and attentiveness.
Totally. And then there's the manager or supervisor. You probably won't deal with them directly unless there's a bigger issue your server can't sort out. Or maybe you want to give specific feedback, positive or negative. They're the ones in charge of solving problems and overseeing everything. You wouldn't typically flag down a manager just to ask for more water. You'd escalate to them calmly if something significant goes wrong. Now, getting a server's attention during a busy service, this needs care. It's really important to be polite. The big don'ts: never snap your fingers, never wave frantically, never shout "hey" or "waiter" across the room. It's seen as really rude, demeaning.
Cringeworthy, yeah.
Totally. The polite ways are much more subtle. Try to make eye contact. Maybe a small, slight raise of your hand when they're looking your way or nearby. Wait until they're close. Then use quiet, polite phrases. "Excuse me," or "when you have a moment," or "sorry to bother you, can I ask something?" For example. "Excuse me, can we get some more water, please?" Or "when you get a chance, we're ready to order dessert." It shows you respect that they're busy with other tables too.
These first moments, the greeting, how you get attention, they're like the opening notes. They set the mood. Starting off politely, showing you understand their roles, it just makes everything smoother and more pleasant for everyone. Okay, let's move to that really central moment, actually placing your order. This is where being clear, being polite, and knowing how to ask for changes really comes into play. It's how you ensure you get what you want while still being considerate.
Yeah, this is where practical language meets etiquette directly. And it's easy to make a slip up if you're not mindful. First off, why politeness is so crucial. In English-speaking cultures, just saying "I want a burger" or "give me the chicken" sounds really abrupt, demanding, almost childish. It lacks respect. Instead, you always soften it. Use polite phrasing. "I'd like the grilled salmon, please." "Can I have the chicken sandwich?" "Could I get a cup of coffee?" "May I order the soup of the day?" See the pattern. Often uses "I'd like," "I would like," or modal verbs like can, could, may, and almost always ends with "please."
It's those little words like could, please, that make all the difference, doesn't it? Turns a command into a request. Very subtle but powerful.
Huge difference. Okay, tips for speaking clearly. This sounds basic, but it's important. Speak at a moderate pace. Don't rush, don't mumble. Pronounce the names of the dishes as clearly as you can. If you're really unsure how to say something, it's totally fine to point politely at the menu item and say, "I'll have this one, please," or even ask, "How do you pronounce this?" Try to make eye contact with the server when you order. It shows you're engaged and helps them focus. And yeah, probably best to avoid slang or overly complicated sentences. Keep it simple and clear. Next, asking about ingredients. We touched on this with allergies, but it's worth repeating. It's vital for health, religious reasons, or lifestyle choices like veganism. It is perfectly okay, even encouraged, to ask, "Does this dish contain nuts? I'm allergic." "Is the soup made with meat broth, or is it vegetarian? Is there any dairy in this? How spicy is this dish really?" Let's take that pesto example again. You could ask, "Excuse me, does the pesto sauce contain nuts?" If they say yes, pine nuts, you'd follow up, "Okay, thank you, I'm allergic to nuts. Is it possible to have this dish without the pesto, or maybe with a different sauce?" Being proactive is key.
Yeah, clear communication there can literally prevent a medical emergency. It's a shared responsibility, really.
Exactly. And then making substitutions or special requests. This is pretty common in many places, especially North America, but always ask politely. And understand it might not always be possible. Use phrases like, Can I get that without onions, please? Could I substitute the fries for a salad? Is it possible to get the dressing on the side? Could you possibly make it a bit less spicy for me? Just be aware of those cultural differences again. While swapping fries for salad is routine in the US, a chef in France might see it as messing with their carefully balanced creation. So ask politely, be clear, and be gracious if they say no. Lastly, ordering for multiple people or a group, sometimes one person takes charge, maybe the host, or if there's a language barrier. Good tips here. Try to get everyone's order decided before the server arrives. Maybe jot it down. Be organized when you relay it. Confirm any special requests clearly for each person. You might say things like, okay, she will have the grilled chicken, no mushrooms. Or, my friend would like the risotto, and please make sure there's absolutely no cheese. Or, if you're sharing things, make that clear too. We'd like to share these 3 appetizers among the 4 of us, so could we get some extra small plates? It just helps the server manage everything efficiently.
So whether it's just you or a whole crowd, that clear, polite communication is the thread that runs through it all. It makes the process smoother, more respectful, and gets you the food you actually want. It really elevates the whole experience. Right, now let's tackle something that makes a lot of people anxious. What do you do when things go wrong? Your order is late, or it's incorrect, or the food just isn't right. This is where your communication skills and, frankly, your composure are really put to the test.
Yeah, this can be a tense moment, but some really practical advice. Let's start with the golden rules for handling problems politely. Number 1, stay calm. Seriously. Getting angry or loud almost never helps. It usually just makes the staff defensive or less willing to find a good solution. 2, speak clearly and respectfully. Just state the facts of the problem. Avoid blaming language or getting emotional. 3, use please and thank you. Even when complaining, politeness helps. Could you please check on this? Thank you for looking into it. 4, ask, don't demand. Frame it as a request for help or a solution. Could we possibly get this warmed up is better than this is cold, fix it. Might definitely cook it. And 5, give them a chance to fix it. Most restaurant staff genuinely want you to be happy. If you approach them politely, they're usually motivated to resolve the issue quickly and effectively.
It's about keeping your cool and treating others with respect, even when you're feeling frustrated or let down.
Exactly. Okay, let's look at specific scenarios. If your order is taking ages, what's too long? Generally, maybe 15-20 minutes for starters, 20-30 for mains is kind of normal, but it depends how busy they are. If it feels way longer, it's okay to politely inquire. Phrases like, excuse me, we've been waiting quite a while for our food. Could you possibly check on our order for us? Or, sorry to bother you, just wondering about our main courses. We ordered about 30 minutes ago. Again, polite body language, eye contact, maybe a small hand raise, no finger snapping. Be patient, but it's okay to gently remind them. If the wrong food arrives, mistakes happen. Busy kitchens, busy servers. Don't jump to conclusions. Politely point out the error. Avoid blaming. Be patient while they fix it. Say something like, excuse me, I think this might be the wrong dish. I believe I ordered the salmon. Or, oh, sorry, I asked for this without cheese, but it looks like it has cheese on it. The goal is correction, not confrontation.
It's so easy to get annoyed in that moment, but keeping calm is just so important for getting it sorted out smoothly. Your reaction really influences their response.
Crucial. Okay. If the food is cold, undercooked, or doesn't seem fresh, you absolutely have the right to say something, especially if it's a safety issue like undercooked chicken or just a really not acceptable. Polite ways. Excuse me, this soup is a little cold. Would it be possible to heat it up, please? Or, I'm sorry, but I think this fish might be slightly undercooked in the middle. Could you perhaps take a look? In most English-speaking places, this is not considered rude. You're giving feedback. The key is to mention it early as soon as you notice. Don't eat half of it and then complain. Returning food or asking for something else. If the dish is genuinely wrong or bad quality, burnt, wrong ingredients, you can politely ask for it to be replaced or order something different. Phrases, I'm really sorry, but I can't eat this. It seems burnt. Could I please order the pasta instead? Now, if it's just that you don't like the taste, even though it's prepared correctly, I didn't realize goat cheese was so strong, it's more polite to acknowledge it's your preference and maybe offer to pay for a replacement if you order one. If a drink is missing, wrong, or spilled. For drink mistakes, keep it simple. Excuse me, I think I got a cola instead of the lemonade I ordered. Could I possibly swap it? Okay. If you spill something, oops, stay calm. Signal a server. Oh dear, I'm so sorry, I've just spilled my water. Could I trouble you for some napkins, please? Accidents happen, they're used to it. If you feel rushed or ignored, if the server seems to be rushing you or you can't get anyone's attention, wait a bit, then politely try to flag someone down. Phrases. Excuse me, when you have a free moment, could we possibly get some service? We're hoping to order dessert. Or we're just wondering if we could perhaps get the bill soon. Be polite but persistent. And what if the staff reacts badly? It's rare, but if a server is unhelpful or rude, you can calmly ask to speak to the manager. Phrases. I'm sorry, but I'm not quite satisfied with how this was handled. Could I please speak to the manager? Keep your voice even. Explain the situation clearly. This is usually a last resort.
This all really comes down to handling problems gracefully, being a sign of, well, advanced communication skills. It empowers you to get things resolved, but it can also help the restaurant improve. It's about finding that constructive path, even when something's gone wrong.
It really is turning a negative into a potential positive, or at least a neutral resolution. Respect goes both ways.
The full dining experience, from table manners to departure.
Okay, let's unpack the next layer. You're seated, you've ordered, maybe the food's even starting to arrive. Now what? What are those unspoken rules at the table? This is where real dining confidence often shows itself, going way beyond just the ordering part.
That's right. The time you spend actually seated, eating, and interacting is full of these subtle cues and accepted behaviors. They really contribute to a smooth, polished experience for everyone. First, let's reiterate waiting to be seated. In most sit-down restaurants in English-speaking countries, you wait for the host. It's not just politeness, it helps them manage tables and server workload. Greet them, give your party size or reservation name, and wait patiently. Never just barge in and grab a table unless there's a clear sign saying to do so. Okay, you're at the table. Napkin etiquette. As soon as you sit down, take your napkin, unfold it, and place it on your lap. Don't tuck it into your collar like a bib unless maybe you're at a super casual lobster bag. Use it gently to dab your mouth corners during the meal, not wipe aggressively. If you need to get up briefly, fold it loosely and place it on your chair seat, not the table. That signals you're coming back. When you're finished with the meal entirely, place the napkin neatly folded to the left of your plate. Never crumpled up, and definitely not on the dirty plate. It's a final, polite gesture.
These seem like small things, but they really communicate respect for the setting, the meal, your companions. It's like a silent language of manners.
It really is. Then, sitting posture and body language. Try to sit reasonably straight. Rest your hands in your lap or lightly on the table edge when you're not eating. The big one, especially in more formal US-UK settings. Keep your elbows off the table while you are actively eating. Resting forearms between courses or elbows in very casual settings might be okay, but not while lifting food to your mouth. Avoid slouching or fidgeting too much. Next, speaking and eating habits. The absolute golden rule everywhere: do not talk with your mouth full. Wait until you've chewed and swallowed. It's basic courtesy. If someone asks you something while you're chewing, just make a little one-moment gesture. Also, try to chew quietly. Avoid loud slurping unless you're in a culture where it's expected, like slurping noodles in Japan to show enjoyment. In most Western contexts, quiet eating is preferred. Finally, using utensils correctly. Know the basics. Forks, knives, spoons. There are two main styles for fork and knife: American style and European or continental style. American style. You hold the fork in your left hand, knife in your right to cut. Then you put the knife down on the plate edge, switch the fork to your right hand, and lift the food to your mouth. European style. You keep the fork in your left hand, tines usually pointing down, and knife in your right throughout. You cut a piece and lift it to your mouth with the fork still in your left hand. Both are perfectly correct. Just pick one and be reasonably consistent. Do cut only 1 or 2 bites at a time, not the whole steak at once. And when you're completely finished eating, signal this by placing your knife and fork together on the plate, parallel, usually pointing towards the center or slightly angled, like maybe at the 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock position. Don't leave them sticking out over the edge. And yeah, avoid waving utensils around, licking them clean, or pointing with them. If you drop one, just discreetly ask the server for a replacement. Excuse me, I seem to have dropped my fork.
These details, yeah, they seem small, but mastering them makes you feel so much more comfortable and confident. You're not worrying about which fork to use. You can relax and enjoy the food and company. It helps you blend in gracefully. Okay, beyond the mechanics of forks and knives, how do you help create a really pleasant atmosphere during the meal? This gets into conversation and that ever-present modern issue, phone etiquette.
Right, the social side is just as important. Engaging in polite conversation is usually expected unless it's a very solo, quick meal. The source is sticking to safe and pleasant topics. The food itself is always a good start. This pasta is amazing. Travel? Have you been anywhere interesting lately? Hobbies? Maybe light, uncontroversial current events, weekend plans, and crucially, know the topics to generally avoid. Deep politics, strong religious arguments, personal finances or salaries, detailed health problems, and avoid complaining loudly or gossiping about other people. These can make others uncomfortable or lead to arguments. The aim is usually light, positive, inclusive chat.
Keep it light, keep it friendly.
Exactly. To be a good conversationalist, ask open-ended questions, ones that need more than a yes-no answer. Listen, actively nod, make eye contact, show you're paying attention. Take turns speaking. Don't dominate or interrupt constantly. Speak at a moderate volume. And try to include everyone at the table. Next, and we can't stress this enough, saying please and thank you. These are absolutely fundamental in English-speaking cultures. They show basic politeness and appreciation. Use please for every request. Could I have some more water, please? Could you pass the bread, please? Use thank you every time someone does something for you. Thank you for bringing the drinks. Thanks. That was delicious. Servers often get thanked multiple times for the menu, the order, the food, the bill. It's constant, expected politeness. And finally, the big one, phone etiquette at the table. The general consensus is, it's rude. Using your phone heavily suggests you're bored or that the people you're with aren't important. The advice is clear. Put your phone on silent. Keep it off the table in your pocket, in your bag. If you absolutely must take an urgent call or check a critical message, excuse yourself politely. So sorry, I just need to take this quickly, please excuse me. And then step away from the table to do it. Quick time checks might be okay, or maybe asking permission to take a quick group photo. But scrolling through social media or texting under the table is generally frowned upon, especially in more formal or business settings.
These social behaviors, the conversation, the politeness, putting the phone away, they're what really make it a shared, respectful experience. It elevates it from just eating food to actually dining together. Big difference. Okay, let's move towards the end of the meal. Time to handle the financial part, paying the bill. This seems simple, but it's another moment with its own etiquette rules and potential pitfalls, especially across cultures.
That's absolutely right. It's the final step, and you want it to be smooth. First, asking for the bill or check. Remember the terminology difference. Bill is more common in the UK and Commonwealth countries. Check is standard in the US. They mean the same thing. In most sit-down places, the server won't just drop the bill on your table the second you finish eating. They usually wait for you to ask so you don't feel rushed out. That's a key cultural point. So you need to signal you're ready. Polite phrases. Could we have the bill, please? Or, excuse me, maybe get the check when you have a moment. Making eye contact and maybe a subtle hand signal, like mimicking writing, can also work if it's noisy. Once it arrives, take a moment to understand the bill. Check it over calmly. Make sure the items listed are correct, no accidental extras, no double charges. Especially important with a large group. Do this discreetly before you hand over payment. Then, different payment methods. Cash is simple. Put the money in the folder or hand it to the server. If you need change back, just wait for it. If the amount you give covers the bill plus the tip you intend to leave, you can say, keep the change. Credit or debit card is very common. In the US, they often take your card away, process it, and bring back 2 slips. One for you, one for the restaurant where you write the tip amount and sign. In the UK, Europe, they usually bring a portable machine to your table. You insert or tap your card, enter your PIN, or sign on the screen. Mobile payments like Apple Pay or Google Pay are also becoming much more common.
And the big question when dining with others: how do you handle splitting the bill without it becoming awkward?
Ah, yes, the delicate dance of splitting the bill. Knowing the terms helps. Split the bill usually implies dividing the total cost equally among everyone. Go Dutch means each person pays for exactly what they ordered themselves. Asking for separate checks means you want the server to create individual bills for each person or couple right from the start. This is often the easiest if people ordered very different things. You can discuss this beforehand or when the bill arrives. Phrases: can we split this 4 ways, please? Shall we go Dutch? Or asking the server, could we possibly get separate checks? Again, cultural norms vary. Separate checks are super common in the US, Canada. Less so in some European or Asian cultures where one person might pay the whole bill and everyone else pays them back later privately, using cash or apps like Venmo or Splitwise. So be aware of the local custom, or just discuss it openly with your group beforehand.
Handling the bill smoothly really is the final touch to a good dining experience, and make sure the departure is as pleasant as the arrival. The last piece of that etiquette puzzle. So, what does all this mean when we hit that often tricky, culturally loaded topic of tipping? This seems to be where international travelers, especially, feel the most confusion and anxiety.
Oh, absolutely. Tipping is where cultural awareness becomes absolutely crucial. Expectations vary wildly, and getting it wrong can range from slightly awkward to genuinely offensive depending on where you are. Why tip? The reason is tied to local economics. In countries like the US and Canada, many servers earn a wage below the standard minimum wage, with the legal expectation that tips will make up the difference. So tips aren't just a bonus, they're a fundamental, expected part of their income. Not tipping, or tipping very little for decent service, directly hurts their livelihood and is seen as extremely rude. In other countries, staff earn a full living wage, and service might be included in the price. There, tipping might be a small gesture for truly outstanding service, or simply not necessary or expected at all. Let's look at some typical tipping rates and expectations by country, just to show the huge variation. Where tipping is expected and important, United States and Canada. 15–20% of the pre-tax bill is standard for good service in sit-down restaurants. Maybe more, 20–25% for exceptional service. Less than 15% implies dissatisfaction. It's essentially non-optional for decent service. Mexico, 10–15% is customary, especially in tourist zones. United Kingdom, 10–15% is common. But always check the bill first for a service charge. Many places automatically add 12.5%. If it's included, you don't need to tip extra unless you really want to. Where tipping is optional or minimal. Australia and New Zealand. Tipping is not generally expected. Staff are paid a decent minimum wage. You can leave 5–10% for exceptional service, but it's not standard. Germany. It's common to round up the bill to the nearest euro or convenient amount. A 5–10% tip is appreciated for good service, often done by telling the server the total amount you want to pay when handing over cash. Example, if the bill is £18.50, you might hand them €20 and say, keep the change. France. Service comprise usually 15%, is legally included in the price. Tipping isn't expected. You might leave a few extra euros in cash for a really great service, but it's a small gesture. Where tipping is inappropriate or not common, Japan and South Korea do not tip. Excellent service is considered standard and part of the price. Tipping can cause confusion or even be seen as insulting, implying the staff aren't properly compensated or that you think they need charity. China. Generally not customary in local places. Might be accepted in very high-end international hotels or restaurants catering specifically to Western tourists, but it's not the local norm. Other places, Italy. Often includes a cover charge, coperto per person, and indoor service charge, servizio. Additional tipping isn't usually necessary, maybe just round up slightly. India, 5–10% is often expected in restaurants catering to tourists or middle-upper classes. South Africa, 10–15% tip is standard practice for restaurant servers.
It's incredible how a gesture meant as generosity in one place can be perceived as rude in another. You really have to know the local rules to avoid accidentally causing offense.
Absolutely critical. And knowing how to leave a tip varies too. U.S., Canada. Leave cash on the tape channel, the bill folder, or add it to the credit card slip where there's usually a specific line for tip or gratuity. Europe. Check for that service charge first. If none is included and you want a tip, you can add it to the card payment if the machine prompts you, or leave cash. What if the service was genuinely bad? This is tough. In places where tipping is standard, like the US, leaving a significantly smaller tip, say 10% instead of 15–20%, sends a message. But zero tip is usually reserved for truly abysmal service. Often, the better approach if you're seriously unhappy is to calmly speak to the manager before you leave. Explain the issue. This gives them a chance to address it and potentially improve things for the future. Always stay courteous, even when complaining.
So understanding tipping isn't just about money, it's a really key part of showing cultural awareness and respect for local customs and the people serving you.
Precisely. It reflects your understanding of the social and economic context you're dining in.
Okay, the very final act. Actually leaving the restaurant. How you make your exit can leave just as much of a lasting impression as how you arrived. It's about wrapping up the whole experience gracefully.
Absolutely. That final step is often rushed, but it matters. It completes that social contract of the dining experience. First, thanking the staff. Seems obvious, but it's important. Restaurant work is hard. A simple, sincere thank you acknowledges their effort and leaves a positive feeling. It's standard courtesy in English-speaking cultures. Who do you thank? Your main server, definitely. Maybe the host on the way out, the cashier if you pay there. If the manager helped you or the chef is visible, a nod and thanks is nice. When? As you pay, when they return your change or card, as you stand up to leave, or as you pass them on the way out. Use warm, friendly phrases. Thank you very much. Everything was wonderful, thank you. We really enjoyed it, thanks so much. Maybe add specifics. The pasta was excellent, please thank the chef. Eye contact and a smile make it genuine. It's small, but it means a lot.
Yeah, that little bit of appreciation can really make someone's shift feel better, knowing their hard work was noticed and valued.
Indeed. Next, cleaning up after yourself reasonably. Expectations vary hugely here. In fast food places, food courts, or maybe a self-service cafe, yes, you're generally expected to clear your tray, put your trash in the bin, maybe return the tray to a stack. But in a sit-down restaurant, casual or fine dining, the staff handle the cleanup. You should not start stacking plates yourself unless specifically asked. In some cultures, it can even be seen as rude, implying they aren't doing their job properly. The key is just to be considerate. Don't leave an absolute disaster zone, food smeared everywhere, napkins shredded, wrappers stuffed in glasses. Just leave your finished plates relatively neatly where they are. Avoid making unnecessary extra work for them. And finally, the proper way to leave feedback or complaints if needed, after the fact. For positive feedback, mention it in person as you leave. That was one of the best meals I've had. Even better, leave a positive review online, later Google reviews, Yelp, TripAdvisor, etc. Good reviews really help restaurants. Be specific if you can. Mention great dishes or excellent service from a particular staff member. For complaints, politely. If something was wrong and wasn't resolved, or you have serious concern, the best approach is usually to contact the restaurant privately afterwards, rather than blasting them online immediately. Ask to speak to the manager before leaving if possible. If not, find their email or use a contact form on their website. Explain the issue calmly, clearly, and politely. Focus on the facts, what happened, and perhaps what resolution you were hoping for. Useful phrases might be, "I wanted to bring something to your attention regarding our visit on," or, "Unfortunately, our experience with the steak was not ideal." A constructive, polite complaint is much more likely to get a positive response and help them improve than an angry rant.
So, finishing your dining experience gracefully with thanks, consideration, and constructive feedback if needed really does complete the picture. It shows kindness, cultural savvy, and respect for everyone involved. It's the final positive note.
Exactly. It leaves a good impression, makes you a welcome guest if you return, and contributes to a better dining culture overall.
So, we've really been on quite a journey today, haven't we? From figuring out the difference between a casual diner and a fine dining spot, to decoding menus, ordering politely, handling those tricky moments when things go wrong, and even navigating the minefield of tipping across cultures. We've covered a lot: the subtle dance of etiquette, the importance of clear communication, the impact of culture. You've gained a ton of knowledge, hopefully moving you from just, eating out to really understanding and mastering the whole experience.
And that really is the heart of it. Mastering restaurant etiquette isn't just about memorizing rules, it's about building confidence in yourself, especially in new situations. It's about fostering better connections with the people around you, staff, and companions. And fundamentally, it's about showing genuine cultural respect wherever you might be dining in the world. It's a truly practical skill. It makes every interaction richer, smoother, more enjoyable. It transforms a routine meal into a chance for connection and understanding.
Absolutely. So here's a final thought for you to mull over. The next time you walk into any restaurant, whether it's your local favorite or somewhere completely unfamiliar on your travels, what subtle cultural cues will you be looking for now? And how will this new knowledge, this deeper understanding, shape not just the meal you order, but your entire interaction? How will it change how you connect with the place, the people, the culture around you? Go out there, apply what you've learned, notice the details, and continue your own deep dive into the fascinating and delicious world of cultural communication.